Mount Kailash stood, majestic, silent. It was the center of the cosmos, a place of immense spiritual power. Here, stillness was not emptiness, it was fullness. The mountain seemed to breathe with ancient energies. Snow covered its peaks, reflecting the pure light of consciousness. Below, lush forests thrived, home to sages and celestial beings. Time itself seemed to slow, to bow before the mountain's eternal presence. This was the abode of Shiva, the ascetic, the ultimate yogi. Shiva sat in deep meditation. His eyes were closed. His body was still as stone, yet within him, universes churned. He was the destroyer. He was also the creator. He held paradoxes within his being. His matted hair held the sacred Ganga. The crescent moon adorned his brow. A serpent coiled around his neck, a symbol of untamed energy. He was beyond desire, beyond attachment. He represented the potential within all beings, the power of focused awareness, the stillness that precedes all creation. Beside him, or perhaps within his meditative vision, sat Parvati. She was Shakti, the divine feminine energy. She too was in deep contemplation. Parvati was the daughter of the mountains. She was nature itself, wild, nurturing, powerful. She had undergone severe austerities to win Shiva's heart, not for romance as mortals know it, but for a cosmic union. A union that would restore balance, a union that was desperately needed by the suffering worlds. Her presence softened the starkness of Kailash. The atmosphere around them hummed. It was a song of silence, a dance of stillness. The cosmic energies gathered. The devas, the gods, watched from their celestial realms. They waited with bated breath. They knew the prophecy. They knew a great power was needed, a power that could only arise from this divine union. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath. Kailash was the stage. A cosmic drama was about to unfold. The fate of many worlds hung in this delicate, potent balance. The meditation of Shiva and Parvati deepened. It was not mere stillness, it was a dynamic process, a merging of consciousness and energy. Shiva, the Purusha, the unmanifest; Parvati, the Prakriti, the manifest. Their minds met, their spirits intertwined. This was no ordinary union, it was a cosmic event, a yajna of the highest order. The very fabric of reality vibrated. The purpose was profound. A being of immense power was to be conceived, a savior for the gods. From their intense tapasya, their spiritual heat, a spark emerged, a divine seed. It was not a physical seed, it was a concentration of pure energy, Shiva's tejas, his fiery essence. This seed held the power of 1,000 suns. It was too potent for any ordinary womb, too brilliant for any ordinary being to behold. The universe shuddered at its incandescence. Parvati, in her boundless wisdom, knew this. She understood the nature of this divine effulgence. The creation had begun. This energy was the culmination of eons of spiritual practice. It was the essence of Shiva's ascetic power, combined with Parvati's dynamic energy, a perfect blend, masculine and feminine, stillness and movement, destruction and creation. The seed represented hope. It represented the answer to the Deva's prayers. The demon Tarakasura had become a scourge. Only a son of Shiva could vanquish him. This seed was the promise of that son, the promise of Dharma restored. The divine energies swirled, they danced, they sang a silent song of creation. The seed pulsed with life. It was a star waiting to be born. But who could bear this immense power? Who could carry this divine fire? The responsibility was immense. The risk was great. The cosmos watched. The elements themselves felt the tremor of this nascent power. The stage was set for the next act. The journey of this divine seed had just begun. It was a journey fraught with cosmic challenges. The Devas were in turmoil. They needed this divine seed. But who could handle its searing intensity? Shiva himself directed the energy. He offered it to Agni, the god of fire, Agni was fire incarnate. He consumed all. He purified all. Surely he could bear this divine effulgence. Agni, ever dutiful, accepted the cosmic responsibility. He opened his mouth. He prepared to receive the tejas of Shiva, a heavy burden for even a god of fire. Agni took the seed. Instantly he was engulfed. The heat was unbearable. Even for him, the Lord of Flames, his own fires paled in comparison. He burned from within. His body turned golden, then white-hot. He staggered under the weight of this cosmic power. The seed was not just heat, it was consciousness. It was Shiva's very essence. Agni struggled. He cried out in agony. The universe heard his pain. The other gods watched, helpless. This was a trial by fire, quite literally. He could not hold it for long. The divine seed threatened to consume him, to reduce him to ashes. His divine form flickered. He was the messenger, the carrier. But this message was too potent. He stumbled through the cosmos. A trail of unbearable heat followed him. Rivers boiled, mountains smoked. The natural order was disrupted. Agni prayed for relief. He needed a way to release this burden, a way to pass it on. The well-being of the universe depended on it. The Devas grew anxious. If Agni failed, all was lost. The seed might dissipate, or worse, it might unleash uncontrolled destruction. The elements themselves were in disarray. Wind howled, waters churned, the earth trembled. Agni in his torment sought a way. He knew he was merely a conduit, a temporary vessel. The journey of the seed was far from over. Another element would be needed. Another divine intervention was required. His ordeal highlighted the immense power of Kartikeya's origin. Agni, burning and desperate, approached the sacred river Ganga. She flowed from the heavens, pure, serene, life-giving. Her waters were known for their purifying and cooling properties. Ganga was not just a river, she was a goddess, a mother. She had borne Shiva's descent in her currents before, when he brought her down to earth. She understood the nature of divine energies. She saw Agni's plight. She felt the searing heat that threatened to unravel the cosmos. Agni, with great effort, released the divine seed into Ganga's waters. The moment the fiery tejas touched her cool currents, there was a cosmic sigh. Steam hissed. The waters churned violently for a moment. Then a profound calm began to spread. Ganga absorbed the unbearable heat. She cradled the divine essence within her flow. Her waters, though agitated, did not boil away. Instead, they soothed the fiery seed. They tempered its raw power. She became its protector. Ganga carried the divine seed downstream. Her currents acted as a nurturing medium. She transported it gently, away from the celestial realms, towards a place where it could manifest. Her flow was purposeful, guided by divine will. The seed was still immensely powerful, but now its energy was less volatile, more contained. The river sang a lullaby to the nascent god. She was the cosmic womb for a time. Her waters cleansed and prepared the seed for its next transformation. The Devas watched with relief. Agni slowly recovered, his divine form restored, though forever marked by the ordeal. Ganga's intervention was crucial. Fire had met water. The opposites had combined to create something new, something balanced. The journey of the seed continued, from the heights of Kailash, through the trial of fire. Now, within the cool embrace of the sacred river, the destination was a secluded reed bed, a place called Saravana. There, the next miracle would unfold. Section 5. Saravana's Secret, the sixfold spark. The river Ganga, ever flowing, ever nurturing, carried the divine essence with gentle care. Her currents guided the potent seed towards a very special place. This was the Saravana forest, a mystical grove filled with tall, slender reeds. The air here was pure, the atmosphere was tranquil. It was a place untouched by worldly disturbances, a perfect cradle for a divine birth. As Ganga flowed through the Saravana, she deposited the seed amongst the reeds. It settled there, pulsating softly. The divine seed, now cooled and tempered by Ganga's waters, underwent a transformation. It did not remain a single point of light. Instead, it split. It divided itself into 6 distinct parts, 6 luminous sparks. Each spark was a complete divine entity. Each held a fragment of Shiva's immense power and Parvati's nurturing grace. These 6 sparks settled upon 6 golden lotus flowers. The flowers bloomed instantly, radiating an ethereal glow. The Saravana grove became sacred ground. The 6 sparks began to take form. They slowly manifested as 6 beautiful divine infants. Each baby was radiant. Each possessed an otherworldly charm. They lay amongst the reeds, cooing softly. The forest seemed to rejoice. Flowers bloomed in abundance. Gentle breezes whispered secrets. Animals gathered silently, drawn by the divine presence. These were not ordinary children. They were aspects of a single great consciousness, waiting to be united. The divine play, the Lila, continued. The birth was quiet, almost secret, hidden from the wider cosmos for a time. Only nature was a witness to this miraculous event. The reeds of Saravana shielded the infants. The waters of the lake nourished the lotuses. The sky above watched with 1,000,000 starry eyes. The arrival of these 6 divine children marked a crucial step. The prophecy was unfolding. The future vanquisher of Tarakasura had arrived, but he was not yet 1. He was 6, and he needed care. News of the divine births, though initially secret, soon reached the celestial realms. The 6 infants in the Saravana grove needed nurturing. They needed motherly care. Parvati, the true mother, felt their presence. Her heart yearned for them. But the divine plan had other immediate caretakers in mind. 6 celestial maidens, the Kritikas, were drawn to the Saravana. The Kritikas are the stars of the Pleiades constellation. They are symbols of nourishment and protection. These 6 Kritikas, Alcyone, Merope, Electra, Taigete, Teleno and Maya, arrived at the reed bed. They were filled with awe and maternal love. Each maiden gently lifted one divine infant. They held the babies close. They offered them their milk. Their love was pure. Their care was selfless. The infants responded to their affection. They thrived under their gentle gaze. The Kritikas became their foster mothers, their first nurturers. This act forever linked them to the young god. Because the Kritikas nursed him, the child would come to be known as Kartikeya, the son of the Kritikas. This name signifies the importance of foster care, the role of community in raising a child, even a divine child. The Kritikas provided not just physical sustenance, they provided love, they provided security. They sang lullabies that echoed the music of the stars. The 6 infants grew rapidly. Their divine nature became more apparent each day. Their radiance filled the Saravana grove. The Devas rejoiced. The divine mothers, the Kritikas, were fulfilling a sacred duty. This period of nurturing was essential. It allowed the infants to stabilize their divine energies, to grow strong. The bonds formed between Kartikeya and the Kritikas were deep and lasting. They represent the multiple facets of motherhood, the many hands that guide a child. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter, watching over their precious charges. The young god was being prepared. Parvati, the divine mother, could no longer bear the separation. Her heart, full of boundless love, drew her to the Saravana grove. She yearned to hold her children. Shiva, ever knowing, accompanied her. They arrived at the reed bed. They saw the 6 radiant infants, healthy, strong, cared for by the devoted Kritikas. Parvati's eyes filled with tears of joy and maternal longing. She rushed towards her sons. Her love was an irresistible force. Overwhelmed by an intense surge of maternal affection, Parvati gathered all 6 infants into her arms. She hugged them tightly. Her embrace was not just physical, it was a spiritual fusion. As her divine love enveloped them, a miracle occurred. The 6 separate forms began to merge. They flowed into one another, becoming a single magnificent being, one body, one consciousness. But with a unique feature, the unified child had 6 heads. Thus he became known as Shanmukha, the one with 6 faces. Shanmukha, the 6-faced god, radiated unimaginable brilliance. Each face looked in a different direction, symbolizing his ability to see in all directions, to perceive all aspects of reality. His 6 faces also represented the 5 senses and the mind, indicating his mastery over them. He was a perfect being, combining the power of Shiva and the grace of Parvati, multiplied by 6, yet unified as one. He sat on Parvati's lap, a complete warrior, a divine child. The transformation was stunning. The Kritikas watched in awe. The Devas celebrated. This was the form destined to defeat Tarakasura. Shanmukha, Kartikeya, Skanda. The names were many. The god was one. Parvati's unifying embrace was the catalyst. Her love had completed the divine birth. The fragmented power was now consolidated, focused, ready for its purpose. The child god looked upon his parents. His eyes held ancient wisdom and the promise of victory. Now whole, as Shanmukha, the young god Kartikeya needed training. His destiny was to be the commander-in-chief of the divine armies. He was to lead the Devas against the formidable demon Tarakasura. This required more than just innate power. It required skill, strategy, knowledge of warfare, and mastery over celestial weapons. His education began immediately. The greatest sages and gods became his tutors. He was a prodigious student, learning with divine speed. Lord Shiva himself imparted profound knowledge of cosmic laws and the art of destruction for righteous purposes. Parvati taught him about Shakti, the power of creation and sustenance. Brahma, the creator, taught him the Vedas and the intricacies of cosmic order. Vishnu, the preserver, instructed him in Dharma and the strategies of righteous warfare. The divine preceptor, Brihaspati, taught him scriptures and statecraft. Indra, the king of gods, shared his experiences in battling asuras. He absorbed it all. Kartikeya excelled in every field. He mastered the use of all divine weapons, the bow, the mace, the sword. His chosen weapon, however, became the vel, the divine spear, gifted to him by his mother Parvati. The vel was an embodiment of her Shakti. It was invincible. It represented focused energy and unwavering determination. It could pierce through any illusion, any darkness. Kartikeya wielded it with unmatched skill. His mount became a peacock, Parikravani, symbolizing beauty, vigilance, and immortality. His training was not just physical or intellectual, it was spiritual. He meditated. He understood the deeper meaning of war, the necessity of upholding Dharma. He was not just a warrior. He was a righteous leader, a protector of the innocent. His 6 faces allowed him to process information from all directions, to strategize with unparalleled insight. He grew into a formidable youth, radiant, powerful, confident. The Devas looked upon him with hope. The time for battle was drawing near. The demon Tarakasura had wreaked havoc across the 3 worlds. Empowered by a boon from Brahma, he could only be killed by a son of Shiva. The Devas had suffered greatly under his tyranny. Their prayers had been answered in the form of Kartikeya. Now the young god, fully trained and divinely armed, stood ready. He was appointed Senapati, the commander of the divine forces. His presence instilled courage in the hearts of the Devas. Hope dawned. The armies clashed. A fierce battle ensued between the Devas and the Asuras, led by Tarakasura. The demon was a formidable opponent. He wielded dark powers. He fought with rage and cunning. Many brave Devas fell. The battle raged for days. The cosmos trembled with the force of their conflict. Kartikeya, mounted on his peacock, was a beacon of light in the chaos. His 6 faces scanned the battlefield. His veil flashed like lightning. He was swift. He was precise. He was unstoppable. Finally, Kartikeya confronted Tarakasura directly. The demon laughed, underestimating the young god. But Kartikeya was the embodiment of Shiva's power and Parvati's resolve. Their duel was epic. Sparks flew, mountains shook. The very elements seemed to hold their breath. Tarakasura unleashed his deadliest weapons, his darkest illusions. But Kartikeya, with his divine insight, saw through them all. He fought with righteous fury, with the power of Dharma. With a mighty roar, Kartikeya hurled his veil. The divine spear, imbued with the Shakti of the goddess, flew true. It pierced Tarakasura's heart. The demon king let out a final, terrible cry, and then he fell, lifeless. His reign of terror was over. A great cheer rose from the ranks of the Devas. Joy erupted across the heavens. Flowers rained down. Celestial music played. Kartikeya, the son of Shiva, and Parvati, the child of the Kritikas, the 6-faced Shanmukha, had fulfilled his destiny. The gods celebrated their heroic savior. Balance was restored.